You have been fed a lie, a comfortable, beautiful, and utterly poisonous lie. Your entire life, you have been told that the purpose of your struggle is to find a woman's love, that her affection is the prize, her approval is the validation, and that a shared life of comfort and happiness is the final destination for a man. This is the great sickness of the modern age, the soft, suffocating morality that has turned men into shadows of their ancestors. It is a doctrine of weakness, a gospel of comfort that has created a world of men who are safe, predictable, and ultimately contemptible. A world of men who have forgotten how to create their own values and instead beg for them at the altar of female approval. We are not here to talk about happiness. We are not here to talk about love. We are here to talk about power. And for that, we must turn to the most dangerous philosopher in history, Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche was not a man who offered comfort. He was a doctor of the soul who wielded his philosophy like a hammer, seeking to shatter the hollow idols of his time. He looked upon the world and saw not progress, but a creeping decay, a devaluation of all that was noble, strong, and life-affirming. He saw the rot at the heart of modern values and understood that the quest for mere happiness was a recipe for a small, pathetic life. So, listen closely. The advice you are about to hear is not for everyone. It is not for the weak, the timid, or those who seek only to be liked. This is a guide for the man who hears a call to something more, the man who feels a fire in his gut for a life of purpose, of growth, of power. Nietzsche's philosophy is not a map to finding a soulmate. It is a brutal, unflinching guide to choosing an ally or a worthy adversary in the only war that has ever mattered. The war to become who you truly are. Choosing a woman is not the goal of your life. It is one of the most critical, strategic decisions you will ever make in the service of your life's true goal, the amplification of your power and the creation of your own destiny. You are the sculptor of your fate, and you must decide if this woman is a hammer and chisel in your hand, or if she is the rust that will corrode your tools. Before you can even begin to choose a woman, you must first perform a ruthless autopsy on the very idea of love that has been programmed into you since birth. The love that modern culture sells is a perversion, a tranquilizer for the spirit. It is a love built on pity, on neediness, on the desire to be completed by another person. It is a partnership of two beggars, each holding out an empty bowl, hoping the other can fill it. This, to Nietzsche, is the very essence of slave morality. It is the morality of the herd, born from fear and weakness. It fears struggle, it despises strength as dangerous or toxic, and it seeks to level all mountains into flat, boring plains of equality where no one stands taller than anyone else. This morality doesn't want you to conquer your weaknesses. It wants you to celebrate them. It wants you to bond over your shared brokenness. When a man makes this kind of love the center of his world, he is embracing the ideal of what Nietzsche called the last man. The last man is the ultimate creature of comfort. He takes no risks, feels no great passions, has no higher purpose than his own petty contentment. We have invented happiness, say the last men, and they blink. His entire existence is a negotiation against suffering, and his relationships are his primary anesthetic. He seeks a woman not as a partner in a difficult, glorious struggle, but as a nursemaid for his anxieties, a source of endless comfort and validation. He doesn't want a fire to sharpen him. He wants a warm blanket to hide under from the cold realities of the world. He seeks not a goddess, but a mother. This is the trap you have been taught to walk into, to celebrate even. You have been taught that being a good man means being compliant, agreeable, and endlessly supportive of her emotional needs, even at the expense of your own mission, your own soul. But love without respect is slavery with a smile. When you choose a woman based on this morality of pity, you are choosing an anchor. She will not admire your strength. She will fear it, because it highlights her own lack of it. She will not celebrate your ambition. She will see it as a threat to her comfort and a competitor for your attention. She will chip away at your discipline with the subtle tools of guilt and emotional manipulation. You're working too much. You don't care about my feelings, pulling you down to her level, all in the name of a love that is really just a demand for your servitude. You must understand this before you take another step. The modern ideal of romantic love is a doctrine designed to create weak, controllable men. Your first act of rebellion is to reject it utterly. Now we arrive at the first, and perhaps most important, test. Forget her beauty, for beauty can be a mask for a rotten soul. Forget her charm, for charm is a tool of manipulation. Forget how she makes you feel in the moment, for feelings are the most fickle and deceptive guides. You must ask yourself one brutal question. Does this woman amplify your will to power? Let's be absolutely clear about what will to power means. It is not about petty domination over other people. It is the fundamental instinctual drive within all living things to grow, to expand, to overcome resistance, to express its inherent strength, and to impose its form on its environment. For a man with a purpose, it is the fire that drives him to build his kingdom, whether that kingdom is a business, a work of art, a family, or his own soul. It is the engine of all great achievements, the force that separates the creator from the creature of comfort. Every single person you allow into your inner circle either adds fuel to this fire or throws water on it. There is no in-between. Every interaction either makes you stronger or weaker. A woman who amplifies your will to power challenges you. She does not accept your excuses or tolerate your mediocrity. She has a mission of her own, an internal fire, and therefore she instinctively respects yours. When you are disciplined, she is inspired by it, not threatened. When you are focused on your work for hours on end, she does not see it as a personal rejection, but as the expression of the very strength and purpose that attracted her. Her presence makes you want to be stronger, faster, smarter. She is a collaborator in your ascent, a second sun in your solar system, not a black hole. She is fuel. A woman who drains your will to power is a parasite, however beautifully disguised. She creates drama to pull your focus away from your mission and back onto her endless, circular emotional needs. She requires constant reassurance and validation, turning you into an emotional support animal, a therapist who is never off the clock. She subtly mocks your ambition, framing your discipline as obsession, your focus as neglect. She is an expert at weaponizing comfort, offering you an easy escape from the hardship of your path. Let's just relax tonight. Don't work so hard, seducing you into the warm, slow death of mediocrity. She is an anchor, and she will hold you in the calm, safe waters of the harbor while your ship was meant to be conquering the high seas. You must become a ruthless auditor of your own energy. This is not a metaphor, it is a practical exercise. After you spend time with her, do you feel more focused, more driven, more capable, more alive? Or do you feel exhausted, distracted, agitated, and drained? Does your mind turn to your great ambitions? Or does it turn to solving the petty, circular dramas she creates? The answer to this question is the answer to everything. Do not listen to her words. Her words are meaningless. Do not trust your feelings. Your feelings can be easily manipulated. Watch only the flow of power. It either flows into you or it flows out of you. Choose accordingly. If a woman passes this first, critical test, you must immediately subject her to the second. You must diagnose her morality. Nietzsche argued that all human values, all concepts of good and evil, could be divided into two fundamental types: master morality and slave morality. This is not about social class or wealth. It is about the origin of a person's values, the very source code of their soul. Understanding this is like having X-ray vision into a person's character. Master morality is the morality of the noble, the creator, the strong spirit. It is born from a position of power and self-affirmation. The master looks at himself, sees what is good, courage, pride, ambition, excellence, discipline, the ability to endure hardship, the love of risk, and defines those things as good. He defines what is bad simply as an afterthought. It is everything that is weak, timid, pathetic, and common. The master creates his own values out of his own strength. He respects those who are strong, even his enemies, for a worthy enemy is a greater honor than 1,000 fawning friends. His life is an affirmation of his own power to overcome and to create. Slave morality, in contrast, is born from a position of weakness, from the oppressed, the suffering, and the mediocre. It does not create its own values. It reacts against the values of the master. The slave looks at the powerful master, and out of a deep, resentful jealousy, which Nietzsche called resentment, says, "Everything you are is evil. Your strength is evil. Your ambition is selfish. Your independence is arrogant. Your pride is a sin." Then the slave looks at himself and says, "Everything that I am, weak, passive, pitiable, safe, obedient, must be good." Slave morality glorifies weakness and calls it virtue. Its highest values are pity, kindness as a tool to disarm the strong, equality as a means to drag everyone down, and comfort. Its entire purpose, its secret poisonous mission, is to bring the strong down to the level of the weak. Now look at the woman before you. Listen to her language. Watch her actions. Is she a master of her own reality or a slave to her own resentment? A woman of master morality, regardless of her circumstances, has her own kingdom. It might be her career, her art, her intellect, her physical discipline, but it is hers, and she builds it with pride. She values excellence. She is drawn to your strength because she respects strength in herself. She will not try to tame you because she has no interest in ruling over the tame. She seeks an equal, a fellow sovereign. A woman of slave morality is a different creature entirely, a far more common one. She will speak the language of fairness and equality, but what she means is that your strength makes her feel weak, and you must diminish yourself to make her feel comfortable. She will celebrate weakness in others, calling it bravery. She will be suspicious of success and quick to attribute it to luck or privilege. She will praise you for your sensitivity, but punish you for your resolve. She will use guilt as her primary weapon, framing your independent actions as a betrayal of us. She is an agent of the herd, a purveyor of its tranquilizing poison, and her mission, conscious or not, is to neutralize any man who dares to rise above it. Do not be fooled. This is the most dangerous type of partner, because she will dismantle your kingdom one stone at a time, all while convincing you and herself that she is doing it for your own good. We now arrive at the final, most terrifying test. It is a thought experiment so powerful, so absolute, that it can serve as the ultimate judge of your entire life. Nietzsche called it the eternal recurrence. He asks you to imagine that a demon were to creep into your loneliest loneliness one day and say to you, "This life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more, and innumerable times more, and there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything unutterably small or great in your life will have to return to you, all in the same succession and sequence." Now, apply this merciless filter to the woman you are considering. Imagine this day with her, this conversation you just had, this dynamic between you, the feeling in your gut when you are with her. Imagine living it over and over and over again, in an infinite loop for all eternity. Does the thought fill you with a sense of joyous, defiant power? Does the thought of repeating your struggles with her, your triumphs with her, your entire existence with her, feel like a divine affirmation of a life well lived? Or does the thought of eternal repetition fill you with a cold, sickening dread? Does it feel like a prison sentence from which you can never escape, a hell of agonizing, meaningless repetition? This thought experiment is a filter that burns away all lies, all hopes, all self-deception. Your feelings can deceive you. Your hopes can blind you. But the thought of eternal recurrence forces you to confront the ultimate truth of a situation. A relationship that you would not joyously will to repeat for all eternity is a relationship that is, right now, in this single moment, poisoning your soul. It is a life-denying force, and your only rational, powerful move is to cut it out of your life like the cancer that it is. The man who can look at his life with all its struggle and all its pain and shout into the abyss, "Again!" is the man who has truly learned to live. If you cannot say that about a woman, she has no place in your life, period. This leads us to the final, transcendent concept which separates the boy from the man. Amor fati, the love of one's fate. The common man, the last man of the herd, seeks to avoid suffering. He wants a life free from pain, a relationship free from conflict. This is a pathetic, cowardly ideal. The Nietzschean man, the man on the path to becoming the Übermensch, does not seek to avoid suffering. He understands that suffering is the prerequisite for all greatness. A bow cannot shoot its arrow without the tension of being pulled back. A muscle cannot grow without being torn. A man cannot become strong without overcoming immense resistance. The famous saying, "What does not kill me makes me stronger," is not a cliché. It is a formula for power. Therefore, the goal is not to find a perfect woman who causes you no pain. Such a creature does not exist, and if she did, she would be utterly boring and useless to your growth. The goal is to choose a partner whose challenges make you stronger. The struggle with a worthy partner, a partner of master morality, is a noble struggle that sharpens you, that forces you to grow into a greater version of yourself. The petty, draining dramas of a partner with slave morality are a base, pathetic struggle that diminishes you, that grinds you down into dust. You must learn to love your fate, and that means choosing a partner who contributes to a fate worth loving, a fate filled with glorious, meaningful struggle. The man who has integrated these lessons becomes something new. He moves through the world differently. He does not need validation from others, so he cannot be manipulated by it. He does not fear loneliness, so he does not make choices out of desperation or weakness. He can be with a woman, he can love a woman, but his purpose, his center of gravity, remains firmly within himself. He is the sun, and she can be a planet that orbits him in her own right, but he will not allow himself to become a moon that orbits her, reflecting her light instead of generating his own. This is the reality of a man who has chosen himself. It is a lonely path, especially at first. It demands you sacrifice the comforting illusions of the herd. It demands you disappoint those who want you to remain small. But it is the only path to true freedom and authentic power. The journey isn't to find the perfect woman. That is the goal of a boy. The journey is to forge yourself, in the fires of discipline and self-overcoming, into the kind of man for whom only a worthy woman is a possibility. That is the only real work you will ever do. That is the brutal, glorious truth of Nietzsche.